Chapter number 6, Indian Struggle Against Colonialism. Today we are going to start background of founding the Indian National Congress. In this point, we're going to observe how different associations were founded by different national leaders. The founding of Indian National Congress that eventually followed in 1857 Independence War was the key event in the independence movement of India. It was first organization in India that pulled from all quarters of India. Dwarkanath Tagore established Landholder Association in 1837 to safeguard the interests of landlords. In 1839, William Adams, a friend of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, established British Indian Society in London to acquaint the British citizen in England with the condition in British India. Later, George Thompson, a friend of Dwarkanath Tagore, established Bengal British India Society. In 1851, Landholders Association and the Bengal British India Association merged together. An British Indian Association was formed. By the initiative of Harish Chandra Mukherjee, this organization dispatched a document presenting grievances of the Indian people to the British Parliament. At about the same time, Madras Native Association also began to work on similar line. 1866, Dada Bhai Nauroji, in collaboration with Umesh Chandra Banerjee, established East India Association in London and began the work of creating awareness about Indian conditions. The India League was active in this regard from 1875. Later, Surendranath Banerjee established Indian Association and declared that this association would work for uniting Indians of various racial origin and caste with the help of common political interest and aspiration. Indian Association called a conference of the representative of various Indian provinces in 1883 at Kolkata. Madras Mahajan Sabha, founded in 1884, was an important nationalist organization. At about the same time, English education and urge for social reform resulted in the formation of Bombay Presidency Association in January 1885 by Justice Kashinath Trimbak Telang, Firoz Shah Mehta and their associates. Indian National Congress was founded on 28 December 1885. The first session of Indian National Congress was held at Mumbai in Gokuldas Tejpal Sanskrit College. It was attended by 72 delegates from various parts of India in their respective regional attire. Umesh Chandra Banerjee presided over this session. Many eminent people like Firoz Shah Mehta, Dada Bhai Nauroji, Rahmatullah Sayani, Kashinath Trimbak Telang, Gopal Krishna Gokhale participated in the proceeding of this session. Allen Octavian Hume, a British officer in India, took significant lead in the founding of Indian National Congress. In this first session, 9 resolutions were passed. Through these resolutions, demands for appointing a commission to inquire into the British administration in India, to appoint elected representative of people on central and provincial legislative assemblies, to employ Indians in the administrative services, to conduct civil service examination in India, to curtail military expenses, to sanction more fund for higher education, and to make provision for technological education were put forth. Next point is moderates and extremists. At about the same time, a debate emerged, especially in Maharashtra, arguing about the priorities or importance of political reforms over the priorities of social reforms. The extremist wing of thinker insisted that the independence should be the natural priority. An independent nation could provide a right setup for social reformation. On the other hand, the moderates thought that without social reformation, independence was incomplete. They did not mind appealing to the British government to help in the task of social reforms. G. Agarkar, also known as Gopal Ganesh Agarkar, was at the helm of those who insisted on the priorities of social reforms. He used to say that we need to reform ourselves. On the contrary, Lokmanya Tilak, who was the first leader of extremists, used to say that the home taken over by the other should be recovered first. Then only we can reform it. Let's try to understand the ideological differences between the moderate and extremist thinkers. Firoz Shah Mehta, Gopal Krishna Gokhale were the leader of the moderates. They felt that if they could convince the government about their grievances with necessary proof, the government will not disappoint them. On the other hand, Lokmanya Tilak felt that British government will not yield to application, requests and speeches. The differences between moderates and extremist section of the Indian National Congress reached its climax in the session of Indian National Congress that held in Surat in 1907. The moderate wanted to avoid the resolution of Swadeshi and boycott. On the other hand, the extremists wanted to stop these attempts of the moderates. This increased the tension during the session. Reconciliation became impossible. Ultimately, the Indian National Congress split into two, came to be known as the moderate and extremist group of Indian National Congress. Partition of Bengal. To control the program of Indian National Congress, Lord Curzon planned partition of Bengal. And the reason behind the partition of Bengal was given that the Bengal was too large to be administered. After the partition of Bengal, the British government began to take strict action against the leaders of the extremists. Lokmanya Tilak was sent to Mandalay prison for 6 years under the charge of treason. Bipin Chandra Pal was imprisoned and Lala Lajpat Rai was deported. All three were the main leader of the extremist group of Indian National Congress. Lokmanya Tilak had written from Mandalay when the First World War had begun. He proposed that Indians should take advantage of the situation resulted because of the war. The war had put the British government in a difficult situation. Hence, it was the right time for pressing the cause of Indian independence. The governor of Bombay, Mumbai, called a meeting of Indian leaders for help. Lokmanya Tilak, in very clear terms, told the British that the Indian soldiers would be sent to fight if only British government promised the Swaraj. This policy of Lokmanya Tilak is known as responsive cooperation. When the governor stopped, Lokmanya Tilak got up and immediately left the meeting without bothering for anything or anybody. Congress session at Lucknow. Lokmanya Tilak returned to India after completing a 6-year term in the prison of Mandalay in 1914. After that, there was a reconciliation between moderates and extremists, and they came together in the Congress session at Lucknow. Sixth point, armed revolutionary in India. The Indian movement against the British imperialism took many forms. One of the movement was of armed revolution. The main objective of the armed revolutionary was to weaken government administration, to dispel the fear of the government in people's mind, and thus to uproot the British rule from India. Ram Singh Kuka had planned a revolt in Punjab against the British government. In Maharashtra, Vasudev Balwant Phadke was on the same line. Commissioner Rent's method of treating people during plague epidemic in Pune was atrocious. Enraged by it, Damodar and Balakrishna Chapekar, the two brothers, killed him. Foundation of Abhinav Bharat. In 1899, with the initiative of Ganesh Damodar Savarkar and his brother Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, Mitra Mela, a secret organization, was established at Nasik. The same organization was renamed in 1904 as Abhinav Bharat. The same year, Vinayak Damodar Savarkar went to England for higher education. From there, he began to send revolutionary literature, pistol, etc. to the member of Abhinav Bharat. He wrote a biography of Joseph Mazzini an Italian revolutionary. He also wrote the book 1857, The First War of Independence. The British government came to know of the activities of Abhinav Bharat. Ganesh Damodar Savarkar was arrested by the British government Jacksons. The British collector punished him with life sentence. To take revenge, Anand Lakshman Kanre, a young Indian revolutionary, killed Jacksons to avenge the punishment given to Ganesh Damodar Savarkar. The government held Vinayak Damodar Savarkar for Jackson's murder. He was arrested and had to face a trial in the court. He was declared guilty and sentenced for rigorous punishment or imprisoned for 50 years at Andaman. Another revolutionary organization which was established in Bengal, the name of that organization was Anushilan Samiti. A revolutionary organization was active in Bengal. Aurobindo Ghosh and his brother Varindra Kumar Ghosh were at the head of this organization. The organization had a center of bomb making at Manikatala near Kolkata. In 1908, Khudiram Bose and Prafulla Chaki of Anushilan Samiti made a plan of Kingsford assassination, who was an evil British magistrate. However, the horse cart which was bombed by them did not carry Kingsford but two British women instead. They both died. Praful Chaki shot himself and Khudiram Bose was arrested and hanged. G. Krishna Varma had founded India House in London. This organization used to give scholarship to the Indian student in England taking higher education. Madam Kama belonged to the group formed by Shyamji Krishna Varma. She was a socialist and a revolutionary in the World Socialist Conference in Germany. She raised the issue of India's independence. She unfurled a flag representing India. Mandela Dhingra shot Curzon Valley to death and was arrested and hanged for it. Indians in America and Canada had established a revolutionary organization which was named as Gadar. Lala Hardayal, Bhai Paramanand, Dr. Pandurang Sadashiv Kankoji were among the main leaders of this organization. Gadar means uprising. Gadar was the name of the newspaper as well, published by this organization. This newspaper gave the message of patriotism and revolution to Indians. Hutatma Vishnu Ganesh Pingle contributed in a great way in this work. Next is Hindustan Republic Association. Ram Prasad Bismil, Ashfaqullah, Roshan Singh, Rajendra Lahiri of Hindustan Republic Association had masterminded a plan for raising money for revolutionary work, which came to be known as Kakori Conspiracy. They sacked a train which was carrying the government treasury. When it had stopped at Kakori station in Uttar Pradesh, the government was prompt in action. All of them were captured immediately and hanged. This was the time when some young people in India established the Communist Party, following the revolutionary thoughts of Karl Marx. Their aim was to uproot the colonial British rule and to establish the rule of working class people, proletariats. Members of the Communist Party were tried under the charge of attempting armed revolution. The Meerut case and Kanpur case in this context received a lot of publicity. Comrade Shirpad Amrut Dhange, Muzaffar Ahmad, Keshav Neelkant Jogalekar were among the accused in these cases.